What if I told you that some of the nuts you've enjoyed your whole life, the same ones you thought were helping you stay healthy, might actually be harming your brain as you get older? And what if just one small change in your morning routine could help keep your mind sharp and clear for many more years? This isn't something you'll hear often, especially from the food industry or even your doctor, but after watching my own father go through memory loss, I can't keep this to myself anymore. Please stay with me until the end of this story, because I'm about to reveal a simple morning habit that has helped thousands of seniors get back their mental clarity. Something so effective, the food industry would prefer you never hear about it. You see, as we age, our bodies change in ways most people don't realize, especially when it comes to how we process food. The foods that nourish us in our 40s and 50s can slowly become less helpful, or even harmful, in our 60s, 70s, and beyond. This isn't just about food allergies or sensitivities. It goes much deeper than that. As we get older, our bodies start to handle fats and other compounds in nuts differently. And some of these changes can affect our brains in ways that are only now being understood by scientists. Most of us have been told that nuts are a healthy snack, great for our hearts, and good for our brains. But the truth is, not all nuts are the same, and some can actually speed up memory problems in seniors, especially if they are eaten every day. 3 years ago, my father started to have trouble remembering things. It began with small things, like forgetting where he put his keys or the name of a neighbor. We all laughed and called them senior moments. But then one morning he couldn't remember how to make his favorite coffee, something he had done every day for 50 years. That moment was scary, and it made me realize something was really wrong. The doctors told us it was normal aging and prescribed medicine that had more side effects than benefits. I couldn't accept that this intelligent, caring man, who had built a business, raised 3 kids, and could recite poems from memory, was simply going to lose his mind, bit by bit. So I started researching everything I could about how food affects the brain, talking to experts who look beyond the usual advice. What I discovered about nuts shocked me, especially since my father always ate them, thinking they were helping his heart and brain. Let's start with some of the nuts you should be careful with. First, cashews. They taste great, and most people think they're a healthy choice. But cashews have more carbohydrates than most other nuts, which can cause your blood sugar to rise quickly. For older adults whose bodies don't handle sugar as well as they used to, these spikes can cause brain fog and trouble with memory. Cashews also contain something called oxalates, which can lead to inflammation in people over 65. This inflammation doesn't just stay in your stomach. It can travel through your body and even reach your brain, making memory problems worse. Second, there are peanuts. Many people don't realize that peanuts aren't actually nuts. They're legumes. Peanuts can be a problem because they often carry tiny toxins from mold, called aflatoxins, which are hard for older bodies to get rid of. Over time, these toxins can build up and put stress on the brain. Peanuts also have a type of fat that can increase inflammation, which is already a big problem for aging brains. I watched my dad eat peanuts every day, thinking he was doing something good, but his memory only got worse. Next, let's talk about Brazil nuts. These nuts are famous for being high in selenium, a nutrient our bodies need. But just 2 Brazil nuts give you more than your daily need for selenium, and eating more than that, day after day, can be harmful. Too much selenium can cause symptoms that look a lot like memory loss or mood problems, which are often blamed on getting older. I've seen many seniors eat Brazil nuts every day, not realizing that they could be getting too much selenium and actually hurting their brains. Finally, there are conventional almonds. Almonds can be wonderful for you, but most of the ones you buy in stores have been treated with chemicals to keep them fresh and free of bugs. As we get older, our bodies have a harder time getting rid of these chemicals, which can build up and cause problems in the brain. On top of that, how these almonds are grown can lead to more unhealthy fats, which add even more inflammation. When my father switched to organic raw almonds, his alertness improved, even though doctors said it wasn't likely. After learning all this, I realized that the types of nuts we choose really make a difference for our brains, especially as we age. This isn't something you'll see on the news or in big health magazines, because the food industry wants us to buy whatever is on the shelf. But for seniors, every food choice matters. When my dad cut out these problematic nuts and replaced them with better options, things started to change. His brain fog lifted, he started remembering names and details, and the spark that made him himself began to return. Even his doctor was surprised when his memory tests improved, something the medical system said was impossible. What we learned is that the right foods can help keep our brains healthy and the wrong ones can quietly make things worse year after year. This isn't about miracle cures, it's about understanding how our bodies change and making smart, simple choices that can make a huge difference. So if you or someone you care about is worried about memory loss, know that you have more control than you think. The food choices you make, even something as small as which nuts you eat, can have a big impact on how your brain ages. In the next part, I'll show you the 4 nuts that can actually help protect your brain and the easy morning ritual that helped my dad and thousands of other seniors feel sharper, more focused, and more themselves. Don't miss what's coming next because it could make all the difference for you or someone you love. The choice is in your hands and the decision you make today could change your future and the future of those you love. So let's dive deeper into the nuts that can help you not just avoid harm but actually support your brain's natural ability to heal, adapt, and stay sharp even as you age. If you remember from my story when my father stopped eating the nuts that were quietly sabotaging his mind and replaced them with 4 powerful alternatives, the changes were nothing short of life-changing. This wasn't a miracle or a fluke, it was the result of understanding exactly what the aging brain needs and making sure it gets the right support every single day. Let me introduce you to these 4 brain-boosting heroes: walnuts, pecans, pistachios, and pine nuts, and show you how easy it can be to build them into your daily life. Let's start with walnuts. Have you ever noticed that a walnut looks a bit like a brain? That's not just a funny coincidence. Walnuts are packed with a special plant-based omega-3 fat called alpha-linolenic acid, or ALA. This fat is like food for your brain cells. It actually helps them build strong connections and function at their best. Scientists have found that eating walnuts regularly can help seniors improve their memory, focus, and even verbal skills. When my father added just 7 walnuts a day to his breakfast, his mental clarity began to return, and he could find the right words more easily. Walnuts are also full of antioxidants, which act like a shield protecting your brain from the tiny bits of stress and damage that build up over the years. As we age, our brains need more of this protection. That's why walnuts are the first nut I recommend for anyone who wants to keep their mind sharp. Next up, pecans. These nuts might look simple, but they hold a secret power for the aging brain. Pecans are rich in a group of antioxidants called proanthocyanidins, which are especially good at protecting delicate brain cells from damage. They also provide a healthy dose of vitamin E, a nutrient that's vital for seniors but often missing from everyday diets. Studies have shown that seniors who eat enough vitamin E are more likely to hold on to their memory and mental skills as they age. Pecans also have healthy monounsaturated fats which help keep blood flowing smoothly to the brain, carrying oxygen and nutrients right where they're needed most. When my father added pecans to his morning routine, even his doctor noticed improvements in his processing speed. Pecans might not be the flashiest nut in the store, but their benefits for seniors are truly impressive. The third nut in our brain-boosting lineup is the pistachio. Pistachios are famous for their bright green color, but the real magic is inside. These nuts support the health of blood vessels in the brain, which is absolutely crucial for staying mentally sharp. Pistachios contain special plant nutrients along with B vitamins and minerals that help keep the tiny blood vessels in your brain open and healthy. This means more oxygen and nutrients reach your brain cells, helping them do their job. Pistachios also have lutein and zeaxanthin, which don't just help your eyes, they're also good for your brain. As my father discovered, adding pistachios to his daily mix meant he could focus longer and didn't get mentally tired as quickly. For seniors struggling with brain fog or low energy, pistachios can be a game changer. Finally, let's talk about the pine nut, a tiny nut with a big impact. Pine nuts have been a prized food in many cultures for thousands of years, especially in places where people tend to live long, healthy lives. These little nuts contain a rare fat called phenolenic acid, which is especially good at calming inflammation in the brain. They're also loaded with manganese, a mineral that acts like fuel for the brain's energy factories. As we age, our brains naturally lose some energy, but the right nutrients can help slow this decline. When my father started adding a tablespoon of pine nuts to his breakfast, he noticed he could work on puzzles and read for much longer without feeling tired. Pine nuts are easy to find and simple to use. They're the fourth and final member of our cognitive cortex. So how do you put all this together in a way that's simple, delicious, and easy to remember? Let me share the exact morning ritual that made such a difference for my father and for so many other seniors. Every morning he mixes 1 tablespoon each of ground walnuts, pecans, pistachios, and pine nuts. This blend is what we call the cognitive quartet. He stirs this into plain organic yogurt, then adds a teaspoon of high-quality raw honey and a sprinkle of cinnamon. The honey gives a touch of sweetness and energy, while the cinnamon has its own powerful benefits for the brain. This breakfast isn't just tasty, it packs all the nutrients the aging brain craves into a single bowl. The yogurt helps with digestion and gut health, which scientists now know is closely tied to brain health. The nuts provide healthy fats, antioxidants, vitamins, and minerals in a form that's easy for seniors to absorb. The best part, this morning routine takes just a few minutes to prepare and can be easily adjusted based on personal taste. If you don't like yogurt, you can blend the nut mix into a smoothie, stir it into oatmeal, or sprinkle it over. The key is to make it part of your daily life, so your brain gets a steady supply of the nutrients it needs to stay strong. My father started noticing improvements in his memory and mood within a few weeks, and the benefits only grew over time. He felt more energetic, his thinking was clearer, and he even started remembering details from his childhood that had seemed lost forever. His doctor was amazed at the turnaround, and soon other seniors in our community wanted to try the same morning ritual. You might wonder why this simple mix works so well. The answer lies in how these 4 nuts work together to support every part of brain health. Walnuts provide the building blocks for healthy brain cells. Pecans give extra protection against damage. Pistachios keep blood flowing to the brain, and pine nuts help control inflammation. Altogether, they deliver a complete package of support for the aging brain. Science backs this up. Studies from universities around the world have found that seniors who eat these nuts regularly tend to do better on memory and thinking tests. The nutrients in these nuts help protect the brain from the effects of aging, and may even help the brain grow new connections, a process known as neuroplasticity. But there's more to good brain health than just eating the right nuts. It's important to choose the best quality you can find. Always go for organic nuts when possible, especially for walnuts and pecans, because these are often treated with more pesticides. Freshness is also key. The healthy oils in nuts can go bad over time, so buy smaller amounts and store them in the fridge or freezer. Soaking the nuts overnight in water can help your body absorb more nutrients, and grinding them right before eating makes them even easier to digest. A little effort in preparing your nuts pays off with bigger benefits for your brain. Consistency is another secret to success. It's better to eat a small amount every day than to eat a lot all at once. Think of it like watering a plant. You don't dump a bucket of water on it once a month. Instead, you give it a little water every day, and it thrives. The same goes for your brain. Make your nut mix a daily habit, and over time you'll notice the difference in your memory, focus, and mood. There are many ways to enjoy the cognitive quartet besides yogurt and smoothies. Try mixing the ground nuts into your morning oatmeal, or sprinkling them on top of pancakes. You can even make your own energy balls by blending the nuts with honey and dried fruit, then rolling them into bite-sized treats. These make a perfect snack for seniors who want a healthy pick-me-up during the day. The most important thing is to find a routine that fits your lifestyle and tastes good, so you'll stick with it for the long run. It's also helpful to keep track of your progress. When my father started his new morning ritual, we kept a simple journal. Each week we wrote down how he felt, what he could remember, and any changes in his mood or energy. Over time, the improvements were clear. He felt more confident, could follow conversations more easily, and even started to look forward to challenging his mind with puzzles and reading. Keeping notes helps you see the difference small changes can make, and it keeps you motivated to continue. Some people worry that adding nuts to their diet will cause them to gain weight, but studies show that when nuts are eaten in moderation as part of a balanced diet, they're actually linked to better weight control and improved health overall. The healthy fats and protein in nuts help you feel full, so you're less likely to reach for unhealthy snacks. For seniors who sometimes struggle to get enough nutrients, the calorie boost from nuts is a positive thing, not a problem. You might also hear myths about nuts and brain health. Some people say all nuts are the same, but as we've seen, each nut has its own unique benefits and drawbacks. Others believe only raw nuts are good, but lightly roasted nuts can sometimes be even healthier. The key is to avoid nuts that have been cooked at very high temperatures or treated with chemicals. Choose organic, fresh, and minimally processed nuts whenever possible. If you have allergies to any nut, don't worry. There are always substitutions and safe options. And sometimes, people who react to one type can safely enjoy others. Always check with your doctor before making changes. especially if you have health conditions or take medication. Remember, these food changes don't replace your doctor's advice. They're meant to work alongside medical care, giving your brain the best environment to thrive. And if you're supporting an older loved one, you can help by making these small changes together, keeping each other accountable, and celebrating every little win. What makes these 4 nuts so powerful is how they address the unique challenges that come with aging. As you get older, your brain faces more obstacles than it did when you were younger. The barrier that protects your brain from toxins can become more porous, meaning more harmful substances can sneak in. The tiny energy factories inside your brain cells, called mitochondria, don't work as efficiently, which means less energy for thinking and remembering. Your body produces fewer of the chemicals that help with memory, and inflammation in the brain can ramp up, making everything harder. On top of all that, your brain is more sensitive to tiny bits of damage from normal body processes and stress. The great news is that each of the nuts in the cognitive cortex has something special inside to help with these exact problems. Walnuts give you the kind of fats that strengthen and repair brain cells. Pecans are loaded with antioxidants that mop up harmful molecules before they can cause trouble. Pistachios keep blood moving smoothly to your brain, and pine nuts help quiet down inflammation, letting your brain work in peace. Cultures all around the world have long included these nuts in their diets, and many of them have lower rates of memory loss and dementia among elders. For example, people in Mediterranean countries eat lots of walnuts and often stay sharp into old age. Some people in China have prized pine nuts for generations, and their elders are known for strong memories. Indigenous Americans ate plenty of pecans and often lived with mental clarity well into old age. Now, modern science is backing up what these traditions have shown for centuries. What you eat really does matter for your mind. While it's true that many things affect brain health, the patterns seen in these cultures suggest that regular, mindful eating of these specific nuts can be a powerful tool in your corner. Now let's talk about some easy, practical ways to include these nuts in your daily life. Even if you don't like yogurt or want to mix things up, you can blend the groundnut mix into smoothies with berries and a splash of plant milk, or stir them into oatmeal with cinnamon and a few blueberries for extra brain support. At lunch, sprinkle the nut mix over salads for a tasty crunch. Some people like to make energy balls for snacks. Just blend the nuts with a little honey and maybe some dried fruit, then roll them up for a treat that's easy to grab on the go. The goal isn't to follow a strict rule, but to find ways you look forward to eating these brain-boosting foods every day. Consistency is what matters most. Remember, little steps taken every day add up to big changes over time. But don't forget, the best results come when these food changes are part of a bigger lifestyle plan. The nuts work even better if you also get regular exercise, good sleep, manage your stress, keep learning new things, and spend time with people you care about. For my dad, the biggest improvements came when he started taking short walks after breakfast, working on puzzles, and calling friends just to chat. If you combine these healthy habits with the morning nut mix, you're giving your brain every possible chance to stay strong, flexible, and full of life. Be patient as you try these changes. Brain health doesn't change overnight, just like a tree doesn't grow in a day. Sometimes you'll notice little signs of improvement in a few weeks. Maybe you remember a phone number more easily or find it easier to follow conversations. Other times it might take a few months. If you want, keep a small notebook to write down changes in how you're feeling, what you can remember, or how your focus and mood shift. It's amazing to look back after a few months and see how far you've come. Don't get discouraged by slow progress. Every small win is a sign your brain is responding and rebuilding. What's most empowering about all of this is knowing you have real control. For too long, people have been told that memory loss and confusion are just a normal part of getting older, something you can't do anything about, but that's simply not true. Yes, some changes are a part of aging, and certain diseases are harder to fight, but the latest science shows that you can slow down, and even sometimes reverse some of the changes by making smart, consistent choices. My father's story is proof. Once we learned which nuts to avoid and which ones to add, his mind began to wake up again, little by little. He went from forgetting the simplest things to recalling childhood memories, and even teaching others what he learned. Here's an important reminder: the difference between struggle and thriving often comes down to tiny daily actions. The nuts you eat, how you move, who you spend time with, and even how you talk to yourself. All these choices build on each other to create your future brain health.
Each morning when my father makes his nut mix, he's not just having breakfast, he's making a powerful choice about the kind of mind he'll have for years to come. You have that same power. Whether you're young or old, supporting yourself or a loved one, don't underestimate the impact of these small, steady steps. Before you finish watching, please take a moment to think about what you can do today. Maybe it's as simple as taking peanuts out of your pantry or adding a handful of walnuts to your breakfast tomorrow. If you're caring for someone else, you could prepare the nut mix together and make it a special part of your morning routine. The journey to better brain health doesn't have to be hard, expensive, or complicated. It starts with what you choose to put on your plate and grows with each healthy habit you build. Remember, you are not powerless against aging or memory loss. Every decision you make sends a message to your brain, telling it to grow, to heal, to stay sharp. Don't let anyone convince you that decline is inevitable or that you can't make a difference. You can. My father's journey is a living example of what's possible when you take action, and thousands of others have found the same success by following these simple steps. So what will you choose today? Your brain is listening to every choice you make. Will you keep doing what you've always done, or will you take this opportunity to nourish your mind with every bite? The choice is yours, and it's more powerful than you think. If you're ready to start this journey, know that you're not alone. There's a growing community of people just like you, determined to stay sharp, independent, and full of life, no matter their age. Thank you for joining me and for caring about your brain health and the well-being of those you love. Share this message with friends or family who could use hope and practical advice. And remember, the journey to a brighter, clearer mind starts with one simple, positive change, one you can make today, right now. Your future self will thank you for it.